Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Breaking 90 podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Jerrika and Alex. We are the coaches of Breaking 90 Fitness, bringing you guys another episode. Thanks for listening. Hey, Jer, how you doing?
Not too bad. How have you been?
Yeah, I've been good. It's been, I mean, you guys probably have it worse, but we've had some pretty crazy weather. It's been super cold. I don't know about there. We've been getting quite a bit of snow with the cold. What have you guys been experiencing?
You definitely got more snow at first than we did, but we just caught up the last 2 days, I think. So it's been, crazy cold. Lots of snow, lots of shoveling, but it's good. It makes winter activities a little more fun.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, the one thing that it's been awesome for is tobogganing. And now Emerson's at the age where he loves like sliding on the hills. And it's like, it's so much fun. You don't really remember how much fun sliding is until you start doing it again, because it's something you lose. And even as an adult, it's so fun. And it's actually such a good workout, just running up and down the hills and dragging him up and down the hills on the sled. It's a pretty fun thing to do on these cold winter days.
It's been years since I've done it. It'd be fun.
Yeah, we've been trying to get tubing happening, but just with COVID restrictions and size limitations, party limitations and stuff, it's been so hard to book a time for tubing. But that's another thing that is awesome when you haven't done since you're a kid.
I did that when I was an adult and it was a blast. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, always is. Okay, so what I've got today, so for everybody listening, just so you guys know, we've mentioned this in the past, but the way that Jerrika and I do this is we show up with a topic and we kind of put the other coach on the spot so they don't know what's coming, and then we talk about it. So that's what we like to do, is to keep it natural and not scripted, and just more of the general conversation that you guys know from hearing a few of these episodes now. So we'll kind of take turns showing up to an episode with a topic, and the other coach doesn't know what topic is coming. So today I want to put Jerrika on the spot a little bit, and I expect her to return the favor at some point down the road. And what I want to do here is kind of do a point form list of, Jerrika, what would you say are key things, I was going to say like a top 10 list, but it doesn't need to be 10. What do you think the most important factors for living your best life or living a good life are? And I want to hear from your point of view specifically what you think are the most important things for living your best life. And then we can dive into them a little bit. And it probably won't be a super long episode, but I think the audience would like to hear that.
Living my best life. Okay, I'm writing some keynotes that come top of my head first, because I don't want to forget some of them. One thing, while you're
brainstorming there, I'll just talk for a bit. And so I got to thinking about this. There's a song by Eric Church, and I can't remember specifically what it's called, but it's like Lessons I Learned from My 3-year-old. And I started thinking about it with Emerson the other day, because there's so many things that we forget about when we're adults or as we're growing up, that our kids can remind us of. And that's what made me think of the tobogganing story, because it's like, this is something that we shouldn't lose. It actually is amazing. And there's so many lessons you can learn from your kids. And that's where this came to. So I'm curious to hear what Jerrika's list consists of.
So this is an interesting topic that you brought this up, because things have really, I think, since the last 2 years and everything happening with the world, this list, if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, would look extremely different than it does now. And it's something that I've been actually reflecting on the last probably 6 months. So it's pretty interesting that you brought that up, because the experiences that we've all been through, I think, can change a lot of our perspectives. So the first thing that came to mind was the say yes mentality. I was always someone who, I'm a realist, and I would always say no first, and then like think about all the potential things that could happen, and then I'd consider saying yes after. And then usually I wouldn't say yes, and I'd be like, oh, I wish I would have done that. So the thing that I've been working on more is the say yes mentality, with still setting boundaries. I just mean when it comes to doing things. Someone says you want to go snowshoeing on Saturday morning, and normally it's like Saturday morning I wake up, I have this routine, I usually go get a workout in. And all of a sudden I'm just like, I would say no because I throws my routine way off. But no, say yes, right? Just do it and then you won't regret it later on those type of activities.
It's funny that you say that because I feel like I'm the opposite. I feel like I often say yes to too much and I take on more than I'm actually able to take on, and I agree to too many things. And so part of mine, it would be working on saying no to some of the things or stopping to think about them before I commit to them.
It depends on the context, because then I can go the other way when it comes to like work or
Sure.
my massage business or things like this, because both our jobs is constantly helping people, right?
Yeah.
No matter what I'm doing, my total work scope of practice is helping people in all three of my jobs. And so that I found really hard to say no to because it's a bit of a different context. So for work, I actually wrote down my work goals, and one of them was to say no a little bit more often. But then my life goals was actually to say yes more often.
Cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Great one.
Another big one, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, and just setting goals, right? Slash creating a bucket list. I think that everyone should have one, and even add the most unrealistic things on those bucket lists, just because it could be so fun and be so fun to achieve those crazy dream, whatever it may be, but then setting realistic goals as well. So I try to have like an ongoing two lists going. I'm a list person. Obviously people can tell.
Me too. Just out of curiosity, have you read David Goggins' book?
I started it actually. It's downstairs. I have a couple different things. Yeah.
So I'm like halfway through right now, and he is one crazy dude. But so that got me thinking about the setting goals, because if you haven't read this book, guys, some of you will really like it and some of you will hate it. So just prepare yourself if you're thinking about reading it. It's called Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. He digs into like setting our goals, accomplishing our goals, the mindset behind our goals, and he just takes it to the extreme. Like for some people, they're not going to like the way he talks and the way that he wants you to push yourself. But for other people, it's good. And I think it can help push you outside your comfort zone. It's an interesting read, regardless, if you can approach it with an open mindset.
Absolutely. It definitely opened my eyes, because I'm always a little bit more conservative. Like if something hurts, if something feels off, I'll stop, because I don't want to. It's cool to push you outside of your comfort zone for sure. And I've really enjoyed it. And I think I've used a lot of points throughout my life.
Did you read the whole book, or you're not through it yet?
No, so, I have two books on the go.
Just to give people like a disclaimer, there's a part that I'm at right now where he's talking about running a 100-mile race, and all of his toenails had fallen off and he was bleeding through his shoes.
Just keep going.
And he was still running. So like these are the type of things he talks about in this book. It's pretty graphic.
yeah, extremist for sure.
Awesome.
I'm gonna take, and then one that since 2022 actually started that I've really been focusing on is sleeping. Like to live my absolute, I have been living probably my best 3 weeks of my life because I've been sleeping. Like I am a completely different person the last few weeks. I can't even begin to describe to you what 7.5 hours feels like. I'm sure you know, but 5 to 5 hours. Like I was a regular 5 to 6 hour sleeper last year, probably 80% of the year. And I've already, like the first 3 weeks, slept more than I can even remember the last few weeks. And I am a totally different person. Underlined, bolded.
The personal training field is really bad for sleep, because you always have to work with clients late at night and clients early in the morning, just like every other consumer-based field like that. So massage, I'm sure, is similar. People want to get it done after work, before work, that type of thing. So but it's just amazing how many people don't think they need that sleep until they get that sleep, because everybody's like, no, you know what? I operate great off 5 or 6 hours. Yeah, well, you do, but you would operate better off of 7 or 8, guaranteed, everybody.
Yep. That was my quote. I'm like, I'm fine. Like I got all this stuff done today. I'm great. And then it's like, whoa, you step back and it's a game changer for sure. So that one's kind of, that could be applied to everyone, right? That's really important.
I've been there too. I totally get that one.
There's two that I noted the last little bit was social media is not my friend, and learn to be okay with not necessarily shedding like toxic people, but letting certain people fall out of your life and new people fall into your life. I think that's really been, accepting that has been a big impact on my life the last maybe 2 years or so. So social media is not my friend. I try to stay, I have the iPhone's amazing. It sets like limits on your phone. So I go through every app and allow like when they have to shut off, how much time I'm allowed on Instagram, how much time and it's been, if you can follow it, there's like one little button you can click, like turn off the limits, but you try to make sure you don't hit that button. It's amazing. Like Saturdays, I can set 15-minute time limits because I want to be out doing stuff. So it's, if you have that opportunity to use it on your phone, it's a game changer in terms of productivity.
Yeah, to me, social media, it's gotten away from the idea of being social, right? If we treat it as that, as we treat it as a social experience, it can be super cool to connect with people in your network, to connect with people that you've kind of lost touch with. But like the idea of sitting and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, which these apps are designed to make us want to do, is really toxic. Of just like sitting there scrolling through Instagram, scrolling through TikTok for hours, wasting time. You're never going to look back and be like, oh, I'm so glad I spent an hour on Instagram today. But if we can use it as a social app, the way it's developed, it can be a cool technique or a cool application. One thing that's been massive for me is just turning off all notifications. So when I sit down, it's deliberate time to be on there. I don't get notifications to my phone. I know I haven't done this myself because I feel like I have pretty good social media boundaries, but I know I've encouraged some people to remove them from their phone and only use them on their computer, so that you don't even have that option of sitting there wasting time on your phone. You're deliberately sitting down at your computer to make those touch points on your computer. I like that for the people who need it. I think everybody can relate to the idea of wasting time and regretting wasting that time on social media. And I know this could go a lot of different ways, but there's that huge comparison syndrome that we get from social media, because you're always seeing people's best life. People aren't posting when shit sucks in their life on social media. They're posting their best stuff, their trips, their happy pictures when they're doing their best. Like that's what you're always going to see on social media. And you see that and you start to think that everybody else's life is amazing. And it's obviously not the case, right? It can absolutely be toxic if we let it be toxic.
Absolutely. That was a great rant. That was so needed. I love it. Another I just thought of was, I mean, this is pretty obvious. So we talk about routines and stuff. To live my best life, I would suggest just get to know yourself and figure out ways that you can like sit down and figure out what works, what doesn't work. And for me, having that routine, like I need to drink X amount of water because that's when I feel my best. I need to get some type of movement in or outside time daily because that's when I feel my best. So I'm a routine person, I'm a scheduling person. So that sets me up for a better tomorrow and a better week, a better year. And that's a simple one. And that's something that we talk about so often on here. And as soon as I'm out of that routine, or, we've talked about how I used to do that breathing to work and meditation apps. And last time you mentioned it, I was on the podcast. I was like, honestly, Alex, I haven't done it in so long. And I recently brought it back. And it's so crazy how I put 2 minutes before I start to work and I just do breathing technique for 2-3 minutes. And then I'm like so much more focused when it comes to whatever job I'm about to do on the computer.
Yeah, I have to admit that's something that I often let slide too. When my priorities stack up, is I let the mindfulness or the meditation or the breathing work, I let that stuff slide. It falls lower and lower on my priority list, but I think I agree with you. It is important. So I'm going to leave a note for myself to make time for it today.
There you go. See, I like it. And I love when I do 10 minutes because I come out and I'm like, whoa, who am I? Where am I? But the 2-3 minutes, just the focus is there. And I find that even that's more than enough.
Yeah, that kind of falls in line with one of our guiding principles, that something is always better than nothing, right?
Definitely. Yeah, it's so true.
Good.
I'm not sure what else. I was thinking of just something simple as believing in yourself. That's
Nice.
a huge one.
Nice.
If you don't obviously believe in yourself, then you're definitely not living your best life, or just finding, I know all of us struggle with, there's always something we're not going to be happy with about ourselves or whatever it may be, but making sure that you point out the positive things that are the things that you're excited about or that you love, and believing in X, Y, Z, whatever it may be.
That's cool. That actually reminds me of another thing from that same book, Goggins' book, where he mentions that he thinks he is the hardest person on earth. So he truly believes that, and I don't think he is. I mean, there's people that you'll probably never hear of that are harder than him, but having that mindset, he believes in himself so deeply that he becomes unstoppable. And you see this a lot in any top end athlete. I mean, there's a lot of these best athletes in the world that go into their sport or go into their event feeling like they are untouchable, like they are the best in the world, and that allows them to take things to a whole nother level too, right? The power, the mental power of believing in yourself can allow you to do things you never thought were capable.
Makes me think of The Rock's like quote, hardest worker in the room. Like he always believes he's the hardest worker in the room, no matter what aspect of working that may be.
It's insane what our minds are capable of letting us do. And the thing I can relate it to the most is the deadlift. Every time I get defeated by a deadlift, it's a mental game. It's not a physical game. That's the one lift for me. Like if my head's not in the right place, that bar is glued to the floor. If my head's in a good place for that workout, it feels light, and that's all mental. you
Absolutely.
You got to get your head in a good place, and you have to believe in yourself. So I love that you added that one.
There's two more I can think of, and then it's probably lots. I could keep going. I think this is a lot of fun. Having a sense of purpose, whatever, like for me would be helping others, because that's everything that I do in my jobs, and that's my purpose for sure in life. But for everyone, it might just even be have a sense of purpose for something simple, like why are you trying to lose weight, lose fat? Like what's your purpose behind it? What's your why? Or you could do it in the grand scheme of things, like for your sense of life, and that could change, and be okay with it changing. Year to year you might have a different purpose, but allowing the change, but also having that bigger why behind you.
That's a great point. Even this list, I bet you if I asked you in a year from now, you would change a couple of them, right? Like,
definitely. This is just, if you asked me tomorrow, I might have different ones.
Yeah, that's something we have to be comfortable with, but that's cool. That's a great point.
What's your purpose? Like, what's your why? Is it the same sort of, you help people? I know that's your we have this very similar jobs. And
definitely helper. I love helping people. That's a deep question. I want to live my best life, and I want to be the best version of me for everybody that depends on me. So whether it's Emerson, obviously, and Devin, my wife, and then the people who count on me at work, and the clients who count on us in Breaking 90.
I love that.
Yeah, I want to be the best version of me for them. And I think that's what really drives me, is like when you show up, to a competition, to an event, to your house, you want to make sure that you're bringing your A game. And that's I think what really drives me.
That's amazing. I love it. And the last point I really want to make, and this is, for anyone that knows me personally knows, is like the most important thing is like being silly and laughing and having fun. Like I love to just anything that's hilarious. I have stupid humor. I think the most ridiculous sense of humor. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. I love to dance. Just like do things a little bit out of your comfort zone, and just act a little bit, like you mentioned at the beginning, act a little bit like a child. And it's so fulfilling, for sure.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, actually, and it was talking about how we could be prisoners to ourselves. Everybody, basically, they said like out of 1,000 people, 999 people are prisoners to themselves, because once you pass usually around 2, 3, or 4, you start living life by somebody else's rules instead of your own. So it's, as a kid, that's the only time that you still do whatever you want whenever you want. And obviously you can't go on living your whole life doing that, or you're going to self-destruct probably. But it just talked about like finding that middle ground and not forgetting that there's still that part of things. So I love that you said that. Have fun, be silly, laugh, play. Like these are really, really important things that we often lose touch with by the time we hit, maybe 12.
Oh yeah. Yes. Yesterday I was in the backyard playing with my dog, and he had a Frisbee in his mouth, and I was trying to get it, and I was like fully geared out in my snowsuit, like sweating. I was sprinting as hard as I could, and I just kept wiping out. It was just us two, and I was trying so hard to get it, and it was like a game. And I was just laughing so hard at literally nothing, but it was the best time. And then after I came in, it was like 20 minutes of just pure laughter and the hardest sprint workout of my life. And then, your day is just tenfold, like so much better. It just sets your day up. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Find something every day just to have a really good laugh.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I can't stress that one enough. That one's definitely would be on my list too. A lot of these would be, obviously, but also different. So
you keep going. Yeah.
Awesome.
No,
that's
cool
great.
one.
So we got eight there. So Jerrika's 8 rules to live in your best life. That's cool. That's the name of this podcast. Jerrika's 8 rules to live in your best life.
Next year it'll be like Jerrika's 21, and she'll have like all these extra ones.
Forget what I said about rule number 3. Yeah. That one was a lie.
So I did this and it didn't work, and we're taking that one off. No, it's nice. Fun. There's so many things you can say.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Oh, cool topic. I like it.
All right.
So what's your tip?
What I've got, I shared it in our group, our members group the other day, but a lot of people struggle with vegetable intake, struggle with protein intake. And so I shared just making a Cobb salad from home, and how you can go any direction you want with Cobb salad. So you can make it as high calorie or as low calorie as you want by adding things that are more calorie dense, like bacon, or the dressing you use, or the cheeses you use. You can make it more calorie dense if you have the room for it. If you don't, well, you can dial that back by just adding things like chicken and eggs as your protein sources in there. And you have the ability in a Cobb salad to get so much protein, because you can add like a ham, chicken, and egg easily. And right there, you can get 2-3 servings of protein in your one dish. You can make it a massive vegetable serving because it's good with any vegetables. I did like spinach, mushrooms, peppers, onions, but you could really put any vegetables you like in there. And then instead of a traditional dressing, I did the dressing I've talked about on this podcast in the past, where I just mixed plain Greek yogurt and sriracha. So that was actually another serving of protein because of the Greek yogurt. So the whole meal was just protein and vegetables. It was super low calorie the way I made it, and it was really filling. Made you feel great because you got all those different vegetables, all those different colors. If you're struggling in your day to fit in your protein, fit in your vegetables, and you don't have a ton of calories to play with, depending on what your goals are right now, consider a salad for your lunch option. You can keep a salad so low and the protein so high, it will make your dinner choice so much more freeing than if you eat something high calorie for lunch. That's kind of my advice there.
Love it. I have my big ass salad most days. Actually, I love it so much.
Awesome. Well, guys, thanks for listening to this episode. I'm sure you all found it helpful. I'm sure you enjoyed it. I'd actually be curious to hear what you guys would add to Jerrika's list. So if you guys could add one thing to Jerrika's list, I want to hear what that would be. So let us know in the comments, or if this is wherever you're reading or viewing this, let us know what you would add to that list to live your best life. Let us know what you thought of the episode. Share the episode, rate the episode. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you have a great day.